All right, we're going to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. All right. Go ahead.
So it's my understanding that Councilor Parmigiano was going to be late, and I think his input would be welcome on the public hearings that we have scheduled. So I would make a motion to move the public hearings that are on the agenda under letter D to be after the reports.
I'll second that. Any council discussion? All right, we'll go for a roll call vote. Councilor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right, so after our public hearings, we're on to licenses, a one-year door-to-door application, door-to-door sales application from Renewal by Anderson. We have a motion on this item.
I'll make a motion to approve the 1-year door-to-door sales application of Herman Avila Renewal by Anderson.
Sure, I'll second it for discussion. And did you have a question? The BCI is all set. Awesome, perfect. Thank you for letting us know. So any discussion on door-to-door sales? We had some robust discussions in the past on it.
Is this a first, do we know, this is a first time or renewal, do we know?
First time.
Okay. Oh, for anybody, okay.
Yeah. I have my reservations because the council did deny two at the last meeting. I've consistently voted yes for our door-to-door sales, so I want to continue to approve them, but I think then maybe next meeting we should reconsider the ones that were not approved last meeting. That's all I'm gonna say. Sure, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I would just, I'm going to continue to vote yes for the door-to-door people. So yeah, I'm just gonna be consistent with this.
Awesome. All right, so we'll go for our roll call vote. Councilor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Congratulations, thank you. On to our consent agenda. We have, anybody have anything they want to pull?
I need to pull the letter A because I would.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve consent agenda F1.
Second.
And any council discussion on that? All right, we'll go for our vote. Councilor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Abstain.
And myself, yes. All right, can we have a motion to approve the other two?
Motion to approve the other two. 2 and 3.
All right, we got a motion and a second. We'll go for a roll call vote. Councilor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. So now we're going back to our public hearings, even.
Public forum and then reports and then.
Oh, public forum, then report. Sorry, I did not mark where we moved it to. I'm gonna do that now. All right. On to public forum. The purpose of public forum is to give members of the public an opportunity to address the town council about items not on the agenda. We ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. You will have one opportunity to address the council during public forum. This is out of courtesy for others who wish to speak to ensure we have equal time for all. There will be a timer which will go off when your 3 minutes are up, so you know to finish. If you need more time, we welcome you to submit your comments in writing to the town clerk to be included as a part of the record in the communication section of the agenda. All comments should be directed to the president and not any other person present. Do we have any public forum comments? Go ahead, Ms. Sheehan.
Ellen Sheehan, Richmond. My first request is that you please use your microphones. I know it's hard to believe that people here can't hear you all the time. Most people don't complain, but I don't like to miss anything. So I want to say 3 things about the water system. The last 2 town councils prior to the current one approved opera money to help pay for the chlorination project. I was on the last council, 22 to 24. And I was told that the health department kept refusing our plan for the project, and that's what was slowing it down. I don't know, but 4 years have passed now. And at least 3 times the system has been dangerous to the people who are on the water system. So to me, it seems that someone who was in charge of getting that work completed did not follow through. I'm happy to see that the system is working supposedly in the last couple of days. I would like the town council members to meet with the town administrator to develop a plan to make sure that things are being monitored. I saw there was a letter that guys said there were all kinds of reasons why it happened, but 2 years ago, there was bird in there. There was pretty evident that there was no regular monitoring of the system. And I think we have the same company. So somehow you all need to find a way to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do. It had to be really terrible for the people who live on the water system, and especially for the restaurants who need water to make sure things are clean and they could feed their customers. According to the ordinance, the water system, the users of the water system are supposed to cover the costs. Now, we gave them a lot of ARPA money, even though that was supposed to be for everyone. But even without the water system, without the chlorination system, the water customers were not paying their way when I was on the town council. So I hope that that is getting addressed and they are actually paying the costs. Because those of us who are not on the water system, we're paying for our wells and we're paying for the electricity to make our wells run. Also, I know that we sell water to people who are not in Richmond. So I hope that they are paying, I hope they're paying a little more than we are, because they should pay our cost plus, because they're not having to take care of all the headaches. So, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else for public forum or anybody online? All right, we'll go on to reports. Our interim town administrator report.
Okay. Good evening. The first item I have is just an announcement. There will be a local vaccine clinic at our Richmond Senior Center on October 22nd from 9 to 1. No appointment is necessary. Just bring your photo ID and insurance card if you are insured. That will be October 22nd from 9 to 1 o'clock at the Richmond Senior Center. The next item I have is a memorandum of understanding, and this is a mutual agreement with Richmond Carolina Fire District and Hope Valley Fire District with the town of Richmond for utilization of our open government system. It's come to my attention, we've been collecting some fees and there was no real policies in place on how those fees would be collected and or if the town of Richmond did not get reimbursed from the state of Rhode Island. Fire permit fees were mandated to go onto an online platform. It certainly doesn't need to be on our platform, but it would be certainly more convenient for our residents to continue with the same system that our building permits are pulled and such. It was brought to my attention, we had a few jurisdictional issues, and so we had a meeting to establish roles and responsibilities, and some of other items have come to light that, you know, the town of Richmond is providing some administrative services for this. We are collecting the fees. We're doing all the state reporting for the fire departments, as well as we're, you know, using our resources to manage that portion for the fire department. So the section 2 of this item is to ensure that we're collecting the fees under the ordinance that's correct. And there is an agreement in place. Both fire chiefs have written a supportive letter towards this, that the town of Richmond isn't under no obligation to do so, and will continue to review this at every budget cycle. But at least the town is getting some reimbursement for those administrative services and costs associated with utilizing our online platform that has been mandated by the state, not just for the fire department, but for building was our first to go on. Zoning, planning just went on. That was a mandate of the state. And so we all were in agreement that this understanding of what roles each entity would play and what fees would be retained, we're all under mutual agreement, and there's supportive letters to that effect.
Awesome. Do we have any council questions on it? Sure, go ahead.
So I'm just trying to understand the background. How much of this is new? how much of this was going on but hadn't been formalized and we need to formalize it. I'm just trying to get a sense of that and get a better sense of what our role is.
So it is, in my looking into this, this has been going on for more than 6 months, maybe a little shy than 9 months, but somewhere between the 9 and 6 month mark that this was instituted, that platform and module was built out for those fire inspector entities. And unfortunately, it came in front of the town a few times due to jurisdictional issues. We have Richmond, Carolina, and we have Hope Valley Fire District. And in the system, there was no way to deviate to make sure that this is this fire marshal's inspections and this was the others. And so in the meeting, we've had a few meetings in the last 4 months, but it wasn't truly in the understanding until zoning official Jordan brought to my attention, we've been reporting through finance the fire inspection fees, and we've been collecting the fees for some time, and what we do with those fees. So I believe it's been going on for almost 6 months, and there was no real understanding. A lot of it came to light when the state has billed us. They included the fire departments on the billing. And so, Finance Director Andrews brought it to my attention, should the fire companies pay first and then, they get reimbursed if we're going to continue this agreement. It's a convenience to our residents, so we want this to happen, but there should be some sort of compensation for the town of Richmond, who is providing services for the fire entities for that. So we did have a meeting about 2 weeks ago now with the fire chiefs, Danielle, myself, and zoning official Jordan, to understand the system and kind of the issues. We developed one email and set a rule that it goes to 2 fire chiefs at the same time, and it goes to both fire marshals. So there's no more, hopefully, communication issues. But there's a cost to that for the town. It's our IT services, it's our computers, it's our check stock, it's our printing. And so, in all fairness, I don't believe that each fire chief was also under the impression that this was happening. So everybody came to the table that this was a mutual beneficial thing for the residents and convenience. So we have to, obviously, we've been collecting the fees and we've been reporting to the state and reimbursing to each fire entity, but there has been no previous to this look at what the impacts is for Richmond town staff or our costs. So we've come up with this administrative fee to collect that fee. Also, this will give us an idea of how much volume we're collecting in preparations for future staff. So we'll go into a dedicated account, and then should the state not reimburse for a module, at least this understanding comes up to the agreement that the town is not responsible for that module. It would be responsible for the fire departments to budget for that. Or at least we also then have a collection fee in place to cover our costs for that.
So my next question was going to be about this state reimbursement issue. So what would they be reimbursing us for?
So they're going to reimburse the fire portion of OpenGov. The state of Rhode Island has contracted with OpenGov. It is their entity, and they have been reimbursing those towns that have gone on. Now there's no more choice of going online for business license. For building permit applications. The newest law that changed is that zoning and planning go on. There is no more choice in that. And so the portion of reimbursement right now is for all. And then, but the fire portion specifically the language was not great in the state law. And so we wanted, when it appeared on the town of Richmond's bill, we wanted to ensure that maybe Hopkinton wasn't paying for Hope Valley and we weren't double billing, and where was our responsibility, because nobody had budgeted for this. So Hope Valley or Carolina, would they pay first, but then they would get reimbursed through us. So we just figured it was cleaner that the town of Richmond would pay for the fee, get reimbursed for the entire system all at one time versus piecemealing it out between 3 entities.
So there's no question there's going to be state reimbursement,
Not for this year's. For this year, we will get state reimbursement.
but it's up in the air whether it's going to continue.
So
Depending
each-
upon their budget. and-
Right. So at least it puts everybody on notice to build this into their budget, should it not be reimbursed. And then it also, we'd been doing it, and so we didn't want to keep taking on the onus of this, should there not be that support in the future.
So one more, well, maybe two more questions. So are we collecting for the Hopkinton portion of the Hope Valley, Wyoming Fire District?
No, we're just collecting for the fire smoke inspections in Hope Valley, Carolina, that fall under our fire districts. Hopkinton is billing separately for their portion of Ashaway, I don't believe went on, but their section of Hopkinton.
Okay,
So it's not another agreement with Hopkinton.
so they're gonna have to make their own arrangements there.
Correct.
Okay. So just so I make sure I understand, and I'm not opposed to this, I just want to make sure I understand it. We're collecting the fees for whatever permit people need, smoke, whatever. We then do the reporting to the state. We pass off to whichever fire district it applies to the fee. And we're retaining an administrative fee that's being added to what the property owner pays when they apply for the permit. Yes, okay, all right. Thank you for all of those answers.
I have a question. I think you answered it. But my question was, within the language, it says that the zoning officer can give administrative permissions to whoever's managing the system. Why would we not just give permissions to somebody within the fire district so they can do their own management? Is that the convenience factor that you had mentioned?
No, so unfortunately, the system has no way of differentiating a Richmond, Carolina fire district or Hope Valley fire district. So it was previously being managed by one entity, and there was to my understanding, a communication gap that they weren't being, because once a entity takes it from OpenGov, it comes out of the queue.
Okay.
And so that person has to put it back in the queue to bring it back. So that's why we've created this fire inspections at richmondrhodeisland.gov. So the system automatically flags the chief and the fire marshals of each jurisdiction. And then they can look at it and say, yep, that's mine, I'll take it. And that way they're aware that it's all in the queue, because we had, to my understanding, some of the events that were happening were not being disclosed to one fire marshal or another.
Okay.
So there was so we've removed the administrative privileges that came to the attention that they were shared with a few different entities, and it's the town system. And so for security reasons, we tightened that back up so that the zoning official will have ultimate administrative approval with Finance Director Andrews, because you never want one person to have that. And that way, every user of the system would have the same credentials to use it, but it could not create a system that would be taking something out of a queue for another entity.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? All right, I guess we'll have a motion to approve.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding with Richmond, Carolina Fire District and the Hope Valley, Wyoming Fire District for utilization of the town's open government permitting system and administrative support.
I'll second it. All right, any further council discussion? We'll go for a vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes,
and myself, yes. All right, and then next we have the ordinances that go along with it. Do you have anything you want to add on this one?
So it's just simply adding the fire plan review and inspection fees, so that we can collect it under our ordinance that defines collection of fees. So it is basically state marshal fees, and then the added administrative fee just for advertising.
Awesome. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the town code of ordinances 3.6 entitled fee schedule to include fire inspection fees with authorization to advertise for a public hearing.
Second.
All right, any council discussion on this one? Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I thought I had seen something when I reviewed it and now I can't find it. Just give me 1 second.
Was it just an updated, cleaner version?
Yes.
We noticed some.
All right, so the part that said the Hope Valley, Wyoming Fire District is going to blah, blah, blah. Now it says the town of Richmond is going to. That's what I saw. Okay, that's
Yes.
That's why I can't find it.
Yes, we reformatted it so that, yes, it lines up. The one you're looking at, the one on connected to the agenda now.
Yeah, okay.
And it was 3.06.
Yes.
All right,
Yeah.
so then
Yes.
we'll go for our roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yeah.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right, continue with your report, Erin.
So the next item is to continue our agreement with Constellation Power about bidding for electricity rate pricing. This is an excellent rate. It's cheaper than previous rate. We've been participating in this program since 2020 and would like to continue to do so to procure reduced electricity rates. So it's simply a request to approve the authorization to enter into the agreement.
All right. Do we have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the agreement between the town of Richmond and Constellation Power Operations regarding electricity rate pricing for 2025 through 2028.
I'll second it. Any council discussion on it before we vote? Sure, go ahead.
Just one question. Obviously, it involves town hall and other town buildings. Does it have anything to do with streetlights or is that part of this? Okay, want to make sure.
All right, we'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right, last item.
Great, so the last item, believe it or not, we are heading back into budget season. January is the kickoff for the town's budget. We've had a lot of discussions on, improving transparency and communications, and the Charahoe School District, theirs starts with an omnibus meeting after a very short window of presentation to the school committee, and then they bring in all town leadership, state designation leadership. But I feel it's really important because there is still a lack of education for the public that isn't part of a regional school district. They don't understand that when we go out to vote in April, that's for the school portion, and then June, they're like, didn't we just vote? Can we cut portions? And now we're at 80% of our budget is geared towards the Charahoe School District. So I'm trying to create a more open communication with the school district, with maybe just the Richmond Charahoe School Committee delegation, to invite them to a meeting to start bridging these communications. All of our other departments have to submit a budget to the finance director in January. January 15th is the deadline. And then per our charter, the finance board receives, and then they have to go back to the council the last day of March. It's very difficult because also the Charahoe Act dictates that I believe March 7th is the public hearing. And so I think if there's any kind of conversation that can happen, or we could create more of a combined effort to look at the impacts of the town of Richmond's budget, including the school, that we should do so. And so I don't, it's pretty open-ended, I will say, but maybe inviting Richmond delegation to be part of ours, and any kind of feedback and school administration to start to create more of a transparent budget impact so that the towns know sooner. It's very difficult. I think March 7th is the public hearing, and then shortly after is the adoption, and then the council hasn't even really gotten their budget yet to be presented. And so, and part of that is all structural and legal between the Charahoe Act and our charter. But if there's any way we can start having more collaborative communications with our largest impact on our budget, I think it would be prudent to do so coming into this next budget cycle. So I wanted to present this early. It is already October, and January is kind of around the corner. So kind of left it open-ended if you wanted to create more, to invite the school committee or invite Richmond's delegation specifically, or have staff have more collaboration. Certainly it's all contingent on everyone being open to that, but I just thought I'd present this as a way, as we enter into our budget, is there any way we could be more educated on what that number is going to look like for the school? It certainly is beneficial sooner than later.
All right. What do we think, council? Sure, go ahead.
I mean, I think it's a good idea. More chance to educate the public and be more transparent, I think, and maybe get some questions answered that people have. I definitely don't think it would hurt. I mean, some people, I think, just kind of know that, like Aaron said, 80% goes to schools, 20 to the town. But yeah, I just think that it's a good idea to have them come and just explain how they go about it and what they do. And yeah, that's it, I guess.
You want to go ahead? Or you want me to-
You go ahead.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I appreciate the efforts to want to be more collaborative and talk to the school committee often. I do try to talk to them as much as I can, as much as they'll respond, and they are very responsive members. But I just don't know if we can fit another meeting into the budget, especially one that is open-ended and isn't specific yet. The school committee is always talking about their budget. The next budget subcommittee meeting is on October 14th at 3:30 in the administration building. It's open to the public. And I would encourage maybe we go to that instead, to go talk to them and say, what are you thinking? Here's what we can do. Because our school committee also, they have a lot more meetings than we do. They are all on subcommittees in addition to their monthly meeting. And so I don't know. I agree that we need to communicate more and have all our questions answered. But I find that when I email my school committee representatives, at least 3 of them are responsive to me. I will say 1 is not, but that's fine. Also, Gina's very responsive, and they post frequently asked questions on their website whenever people ask questions. So I don't know. Again, I appreciate it, but I just don't know if it's going to be the best use of another meeting. But what do you think?
I'm still unclear as to kind of what's the purpose is, and so when you were thinking it would happen, is the purpose to lobby for some specific cut during the, and I know obviously you don't know till you see the budget, but but my point is, you see it as here's the budget, we don't like this, we like that, this needs to be different. Or is it as you said, public education? All right, the budget's been adopted by the school committee. This is what it is. This is what the different components are. And answer questions that people might have, which, is the purpose of the public hearing. So I'm unclear on that. And I do agree with Samantha. There are a lot of budget meetings that they hold. All of the town staff and council, it goes to the omnibus meeting, and that's when the budget is initially. I'm sorry?
We'll go to the public comment, I guess,
Sorry,
after.
really?
That was really loud, but.
Even without a microphone. The council and staff are invited to the omnibus meeting, and that's where the budget is initially first presented. And everyone has an opportunity to ask questions or make comments, and typically they do. And then, there are meetings of the school committee during the budget process, and members of this council, the prior council, have taken advantage of their opportunity to go to those meetings and voice their opinions about the budget. So I just, that's my hesitation. I think there are plenty of opportunities for us to give input, both informally through email communication, and formally in the context of their meeting schedules. The public hearing is another opportunity for the public and members of council, anyone who wants to go, to give input while they're producing the budget. So, at this point, and I appreciate you bringing it early so we can figure it out, but I don't see the need for it. If something comes out in the budget that we want to discuss, and we feel it needs to be done in the, in a different meeting. You know, but I think there's, you know, there's plenty of opportunities for us to get in, to give input and get information if we need it. So I'm inclined to not do anything at this point and kind of see how the process plays out.
I could.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So there's a big gap between January 21st and the omnibus, and it's all the towns, right? Everybody's circling in.
Yeah.
And then we have the public hearing on March 3rd, and everything's on the Charahoe School District campus. And so what I hear a lot is, I don't have a child in the school, I don't know about it, or I wasn't aware, and there is a lot of budget, and they were very transparent on their website, the Charahoe School District, but trying to bring something of the school to the town side. And certainly it may not be an opportunity to have it before they adopt it, but at least having something maybe here with the school delegation to say, this is the adopted budget we've put forward for Richmond. These are the potential impacts going into our budget cycle, because it changes so much between January 21st and when it's adopted. And a lot of those communications happen there, and just creating one more avenue. And I know it is another additional thing, but between that time frame closer to adoption or even after adoption, to have an education piece and saying, right now, this is what we're looking at for the school budget. So as you start your budget workshops, and it could be at a budget workshop, you know, an added one, to say that those are the potential impacts, just so it's another education piece for the residents of Richmond that might necessarily not be fully engaged with the Charahoe School District. And I'm not saying that they shouldn't, because it is part of our budget, but a lot of people who move in and aren't part of a regional school district in their previous communities make assumptions, because our bottom line budget includes that number, that June is too late for us. And I think the council takes some heat to that when it was like, nope, this has been approved for. So, you know, I think having something during our portion to say, this is what we're reality looking at. And I know, you know, we do a budget presentation and that's part of it, but having our school officials here to answer those concerns, I think just might help our communications between the school district and the towns for one more opportunity.
Okay, so it sounds like it's more about public outreach, which
Correct.
is, I agree is important.
We have
We have tons of time to get there.
I have no problem with encouraging them to, hey, come to Richmond, do it. Don't have to do it here, do it at the school, and invite the residents to come listen to the budget presentation and get your questions answered. I'm all for that. I have no problem with that. You know, contingent on them having the time to do it, but I'm not sure. I don't know if that's happened in the past or not. I know they've done it on other issues had in meetings in the individual towns. I'm not sure if they've ever done it with the budget. But I would support, you know, at least sending some communication, asking for a local budget presentation at some point, maybe when it does get a little more refined, as opposed to at the very beginning when it's still subject to whatever cuts may be made. So but I think we can make that call maybe in January. But I would support something like that, an informational session, so people can get the information and get their questions answered.
Yeah.
That's fine.
That could even be something we share at the omnibus in January, is
Yeah.
asking them to make the rounds like they did for the recent construction. And while I have the mic, I'll make a plug for the Charahoe Finance Committee. It has a vacancy in Richmond. It does not have vacancies in the other towns. So we are underrepresented on the Charahoe Finance Committee. So if you're listening and you care, apply. Any further council discussion on this?
No.
All right, we'll go on to Chief's report.
Hey, everybody, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Hey, folks, never see who sneaks in after us. How are you? Good to see you. So if I threw praise to DPW every time they did something significant for the town, particularly to help us out, I'd be like a broken record here every 2 weeks. I've been here 15 years now, and regardless of how short-staffed they are at any given time, they're always working with personnel issues. They have a great staff right now. They always get it done. And it's impossible to please everyone in the public. Doesn't matter what it is, whether you're a town employee or you're in private sector, expectations are here, and sometimes they just can't get it done because of budgets and personnel. Last February, we had a rear drainage basin. Most people know we're situated at 1168 Main Street, which was once a bank. And so 35 years ago, they put these tanks in the ground and covered it with macadam, with pavement, and vehicles drive over there frequently. We live in New England. We had a lot of nasty winters. Salt goes down, water goes down. Those are nasty elements, are corrosive for cement. So you can see, if you go back, Kendra, thank you for bringing the pictures. I wouldn't want to step on that rim with my foot. Never mind drive a vehicle over it. Sergeant Billiterio, it's one of those calls. You're not at work, you're off duty, and you get a text message with a picture of a gaping hole in the back parking lot. You're like, oh, no. But the first person we usually call is DPW. You call the director. And Gary's crew were phenomenal. They came right out, cordoned off that area with sawhorses and cones. And we started to talk about a plan to replace all of the tanks that were starting to degrade and break down. Obviously, a huge liability if somebody drives into an open pit. Fortunately, that thing fell through under its own weight without anybody falling into the ground. But these things, when they're constructed, it's between 6 and 8 feet deep. And if we had subbed this out, we would have paid well over $100,000 more than we did with materials and having our people do it at DPW. Cody Caswell spearheaded the project. He was a project manager. They had to excavate. Obviously, it also depends on weather. And then balancing that with paving projects like they had down at Pinehurst. They're trying to get as much as they can done and stage things out so that they're jumping from site to site. So this was February that it originally collapsed. They got the materials. They had to rent heavy equipment to do the job. They had to get those protective iron walls, steel walls in the ground so that the ground wouldn't collapse on them when they were doing the work. They had to contact DigSafe and coordinate with them because there are propane lines and power lines under the ground back lot. I'm just very pleased with DPW. I cannot say enough about this crew, the entire crew, and that goes for all 10 people, including the directors in the back of the room. But Cody spearheaded this thing. And that was the paved finished product with brand new tanks that can support the weight of vehicles. You could drive basically a trailer truck loaded with cement and it's not going to collapse. Please don't do that. Don't try. It's very, very narrow back there. And we have a low ceiling on our Sally Port. So that's part one. And I just want to applaud them. Thanks for that. And a second special project. Again, it goes to the talent of these individuals they have there. Ricky Zabriskie, Helena from our department, and I had discussed relocating our breathalyzer, which used to be on a table about this low. So when you have a drunk driver come in and they have to perform a breath test, they're kind of leaning over the table, which is a sobriety test in itself, but it really wasn't practical. And with new cameras that we have in the building, we wanted to put it next to our processing machine, our live scan machine. So Ricky came over, took some measurements, kind of told them what we wanted to do. He repurposed materials that they already had in the shop that weren't being used. Some plywood, which he stained, finished, and he built a table directly beside the live scan equipment for fingerprinting. And he found a piece of acrylic, finished acrylic, which is really easy to clean once it's affixed on top of this table. So you have people blowing into a breathalyzer. I mean, this is a day of infections and COVID. You have to be cautious and careful. So he created this table unit. I don't have a picture of that, but I just want to thank Ricky publicly. He took that project on. He didn't ask for any credit. He did a great job. It was done in a very short time frame. Again, with all the projects that he is doing with your crew. Thank you very much. Thank you. The next item, I was kind of brought in late. I know this had been discussed. I think some residents brought it to the attention of the town. It was a good idea because I can foresee a problem if we don't post signage at the end of the paved end of Punch Bowl. Kendra, if you have that. So this is, that's the sign is not going to be that big if it's approved. So this is Google Maps, and you just pull it up and you put the little yellow stick figure on the road and you get an idea what Google captured on this particular day, and it just so happened there is a vehicle parked there. So this is the trailhead entrance to the Decapit Estate traveling west towards Hillsdale from Punch Bowl at Smallpox. And the problem that I think some residents have that live in that area, and we share with them, is if we had a missing child, we had someone out in the woods that needed assistance and we had to get either fire trucks in there for a forest fire, a medical emergency, we can't have that blocked. Time is critical when you're trying to get resources to a scene. And if we have to tow a vehicle, it's gonna add additional time. We can't have that. So Gary and I are gonna work on some signage ideas. I think, basically do not block, leave open for emergency vehicles, something along those lines that we can fit. The Decapit Estate is straight ahead. The town has a right of way within their town roads that we could use. And then the land to the right of that white vehicle is actually owned by the town, the land trust. It was donated by, I believe, Kenyon. We'll come back with some additional suggestions, but I at least wanted to float the idea so it was in your mind and it was present, so that when we come back with some proposals, maybe we can discuss it and vote on it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much. I have just 4 things I wanted to share that are not on the agenda. These are teasers for the next meeting.
Next time on Richmond Town Council.
No, these are worthwhile mentioning because they just happened within the last 5 days. We had that crash July of 2021, right in front of the town hall. It was a summertime crash. And some of you may remember it was a fatal accident. It took the life of a very beloved civil rights attorney, a guy that just really went to bat for people. His name is Howard Mellish. He died on impact. His wife, Joanne, I believe his wife of 41 years, 42 years, severely injured at the scene. There were parts, she actually just offered testimony or victim impact statement last Friday. The reason I bring this up, that case finally came to sentence and they reached an agreement on sentence. So the involved operator who we charged with driving to endanger death resulting, driving to endanger serious bodily injury, entered a plea wrapped up with a domestic charge he had in Hopkinton. Rashid Faison pled nolo contendere, which is guilty with an explanation, and got 10 years, 4 to serve, but the 10 years will be suspended. The additional time after he serves 4 years will be towards 6 years suspended probation. But I bring it up because, we go from accident scene to accident scene. Fortunately, not a lot of fails, which is important. However, those are kind of in the back of your mind and you're going to the next one. It never ends for the families impacted by these crashes. And I cannot stress enough how important motor vehicle enforcement is, slowing people down. This is a guy that was alleged to have driven reckless on a regular basis. And the impact statements by Joanne, by her 2 daughters, and by his common law wife were very powerful. So I'll share these at the next meeting. The other thing is we had a camper fire at Wawalone, no serious injuries. I'll talk about that next time. Sergeant Billiterio, Derek Adams were up there, and they arrested 2 juveniles on Saturday who had broken into an outbuilding on Beaver River Road. What I like about it is Detective Bishop put a camera out there after the first break. I'll talk about that next time. Do you know about this?
No, sorry.
Okay. Getting too into the weeds. The camera that we acquired for this very specific purpose was put on an area where they had made entry before. They showed up again. It went off. He alerted our patrols. They were able to get there and arrest the 2 juveniles that were involved. And I'll talk about it next time.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Okay, on to our Human Services report.
Hi, Kate Schimmel, Human Service Director. I'm here to actually not request an application because I've already applied for the Office of Healthy Aging grant.
Okay.
And we have been awarded it, but for you to make a motion potentially to, for us to accept it. It's in the amount of $9,589, and it would go towards services for our seniors in our community. So educational services, health and wellness services, and then also provide some additional services for transportation.
Awesome. Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve, to what was the word you wanted? Accept, to accept the Office of Healthy Aging Grant.
Second,
All right, any council discussion on this? All right, we'll go for a vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes.
The second, I have two other agenda items. The second is that we were offered a $2,000 legislative award or grant, and I'd like to apply for this grant. This grant is typically, we're usually awarded this grant annually. And it goes towards our senior activities committee to put on their 4 main events throughout the year. So it would go towards $500 for their winter celebration, their Veterans Appreciation Lunch, St. Patrick's Day luncheon, and then also a newly added summer appreciation lunch.
Awesome. We have a motion to approve.
So
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the acceptance or application and acceptance of the Rhode Island Senate Legislative Community Service Grant.
Second,
We got our motion and our second. Any council discussion on this one? All right, we'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes.
And the third is there is a new mini grant award put out from the DEM for the amount of $2,000. And I'd like to work with the Senior Garden Activities Committee to beautify Richmond. So this grant is to beautify your communities, and they are looking to they've adopted the roundabout,
Mhm.
as you see, and they'd like to plant flowers and maybe put a little flower garden under the town sign in the front of town hall, and possibly at the Richmond sign on 138
Yes.
coming into Richmond, just to make our community a little more welcome and colorful.
Awesome. I'm sure, go ahead.
Was noticing on the next, so you think-
Yeah.
can do,
For this one, I believe that we can only pick one, right? So if we
Oh.
approve this one, then we wouldn't be able to approve the Conservation Commission one.
yeah, that was my question.
All right.
Thank you.
Do we have any motions? I'll make a motion to approve the authorization. I'm sorry, approve the application, right? Is that what you, where did we accept state municipal? All
Acceptance if we
beautification
are
program.
awarded this grant.
right,
Second.
so moved. All right, we got a motion there, second. Any other council questions?
So it's,
Yeah.
so it's still subject to obviously us getting the money. We're just applying for it.
is.
They're only giving out 6 in the whole state from what I see here, right?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, so we'll go for our roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I also would like to go before Chief the next time, because his storytelling.
I thought it was just a link to my report, I'm
He's a-
sorry.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kate.
Next, we have the Conservation Commission report. I know Jim's not here. Is he online? Maybe? No? I mean, if not, does anybody have any questions about the micro grant and the litter-free one?
So can we,
We can.
oh, okay.
We can approve it if we want.
I just, well, Jeff's question was, can we apply for both 2 of them? And we've just approved applying for 1, so that's what my hesitation.
Oh, this one is actually, there's 2 here. So within the memo, there's a micro grant for litter-free Rhode Island that'll help them do town cleanups and things of that nature. And then he also was looking for the municipal beautification one, I believe for some work at Beaver River Playground, kind of more in the invasive
Okay. So,
species.
right, so we can do the one that we didn't just.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so I'll make a motion to authorize the application of the State of Rhode Island micro grant litter free.
Second,
All right, any further council discussion? We'll go for our roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. All right. Earlier,
Good evening.
good evening, yeah. Well, earlier this evening, Jim, we actually moved all the public hearings, waiting for you.
So we've done like
So,
consent agenda public forum.
yes, now we're going back to the top for our public hearings. To get it off with, discussion and consideration of amendments to the Richmond Town Code of Ordinances, Chapter 5, 5.06 entitled Business Registration. I have a motion to open the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right, so our public hearing's open. Erin, do you have anything you want to add to this?
No, so we made some very small adjustments since the last time you've seen this. We changed the title to business license, and then we also stricken the penalty section of 5054, and then we just made it effective January 1st, 2026 to allow for the application establishment.
All right, any council questions or discussion before we go to the public? All right, sure, go ahead, Jeff.
Where it says 5.06.030, town clerk to issue a certificate, should that say town clerk to issue license?
It's misspelled.
So license,
Hmm?
certificate stricken and license.
Oh, I
and
don't- okay.
official.
I don't see it. Okay, yeah.
All
Okay.
right. Anybody from the public have anything they'd like to say? On the municipal licenses? Go ahead.
Yes.
Sure.
Ellen Shane, Richmond. So when I read what it says there, what I read was if you already need a license to do business in the town, such as a restaurant or a liquor store, you'll also need to get a second license and pay another fee. Every year you must renew the second license as well as renewing the first license whenever required. I'm not really comfortable with the idea of double license. Also, some companies have the physical location in another city, but they list their home address as the legal address for the business. So it doesn't make sense to me that these people should have to pay for a license in Richmond when their business is actually in another town. It also says every corporation, partnership, LLC, sole proprietorship, or other business entity needs a license. And then it gives categories: wholesale, retail, commercial, or manufacturing. So I would like a little clarity about that. So does that mean a seamstress, a CPA, or a therapist are excluded from the need to get a license? They're not retail, wholesale, they're none of that. And really, I don't like this at all, because it feels to me as if we're just trying to track everybody. I just don't like that whole thing about feeling like a number. Like there's a camera everywhere. They know where you went. They know if you used your phone. They even know if you use the internet, then you get ads related to that subject. And now I just don't like us going for more control of the residents when those who need a license are already getting one to be here. And I hope it's just not another way to get more tax money. It probably isn't, but just don't like that, the feel of Big Brother.
Thank you. Do anybody else from the public who has anything they'd like to say? Anybody in line? All right, get a motion to close this public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Counselor Dinsmore, how do you vote?
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. All right, can we have a motion on this amendment?
Motion to approve amendments to Richmond Town Code of Ordinances 5.06 entitled Business Registration as presented.
Second.
All right, any council discussion on these before we approve them?
I would
Yeah.
just say, just for the record, just so it's clear, it's a one-time fee. It's $25. It renews every year, but you don't have to pay every year. You pay once and that's it. So I understand your concerns about burden and Big Brother, but it's not too burdensome.
Go ahead.
Just, we have the town staff, solicitor, clerk, administrator that have worked together with this. Does anyone want to speak to the logic behind this, just for the public to address those concerns?
Sure, go ahead, Erin.
So we've had this business registration on the books since 2014. And so the business registration was handled administratively and there was no real looking at impact and zoning determinations and businesses they were assuming they had a license where they were just really registering their business entity. And so that caused some concerns when the business went to get a checking account. They weren't really a licensed entity. And so this had been happening since 2014. We did increase the fee from $10 to $25, one-time annual. It is not the intent to go back to businesses that are already currently there. It would just be moving forward. And so it's not really an added fee to those businesses that are operating a restaurant or bar, because they were doing that previously anyway as a registration, but they would have to renew annually with no fee. Those operations such as home occupation, that is really the meat and potatoes of this, and that there was no real check to make sure that they were operating under the zoning code on this. They were just certifying. And so a lot of home businesses, internet-based businesses, service-based business could operate and get an actual license now. We didn't give them a license before, we gave them a registration. If you're operating and you have another state agency license, we don't have jurisdiction over that. If you're operating a business that's not in town, you wouldn't be here. But if you're operating an office and have a home office here under the home occupation, then yes, it would be required. And so this was just making improvements to our current practice that has been in place since 2014, and just really taking it from a registration to a license for entities that did not hold a alcohol license, a food license, a holiday license. And so if anything, it's more beneficial to the businesses, because now they can open up a business checking account. They can be legitimized in some facet or another. But if there's an exemptions along the way, such as farms that operate on a farm cart license, or if they're certified in a different provision, as long as they're operating in the home occupation section, because I think that's most of the concerns, that they are going to a one-time fee of $25 if they're not already. They would renew annually, so we knew about them. So maybe we can get to the point where we're promoting a database, and EDC can use that, or other entities to say, hey, these are the businesses we have in town. These are the contractors we have in town. Here we can publicize a listing, but right now we have none of that to legitimize actively promoting businesses in Richmond. And so it's just really taking it from a registration practice that was happening anyway to a license that gives them more, I believe, more for the business.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking. Any other council questions or concerns? All right, we'll go for our roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right, on to discussion and consideration of chapter 2.40. We have a motion to open this public hearing.
So move.
Second.
All right, we'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right, our public hearing is open. Erin, do you want to provide a little background for the public before we go to our public comment?
Sure. So I think this is the fourth time we've
Yeah, we-
visited this. Not much of the last reiteration. I think the town solicitor put a great memorandum of understanding forward on this, and reestablishing certain roles that would expand for our recreation director, that would allow for community services and to support our recreation senior and community services. It also formalizes some of the changes we made with support staff and seasonal hires, as well as a summer camp director that would separate it out from what previously was one entity part-time stipend that would basically support 4 programs in addition to the recreation stuff. So I'm sorry, in addition with the Recreation Commission. So
Thank you
I
so
think
much.
we've come to a great version.
Yeah, we've had a pretty robust discussion, but does council have anything else they want to add before we go to our public? Sure. Anybody from the public have anything they'd like to say on the, sorry, I flipped the page over, Recreation Department, or anybody online? All right, I have a motion to close this public hearing.
So moved.
And I'll second it. We'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
No.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Public hearing is closed. Can we have a motion to approve the ordinances?
Motion to approve amendments to chapter 2.40 of the Richmond Town Code of Ordinances entitled Recreation Department as presented.
All right, so we got our motion and our second. We'll go, any council discussion? All right, we'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Okay. On to our next one, which is discussion consideration of 4.34, the Senior Activities Commission. We're gonna have to open and close all these. So can we have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
We'll go for our roll call vote.
Yeah.
Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Anybody have anything they want to say to this on council? This is the one that just, I'm sorry, incorporated the name change from the one we just approved into the Senior Activities Committee because it was referenced therein. Anybody from the public have anything they want to say? Anybody online? All right, we have a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
We'll go,
Second.
thank you. We'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
No.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Now can we please have a motion to approve this ordinance?
Motion to approve the amendments to chapter 4.34 of the Richmond Town Code of Ordinances entitled Senior Activities Committee.
Second.
All right, any further council discussion? All right, we'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
This is to close it, you said?
No, this is to approve the Senior Activities Committee.
Oh, no. Sorry, just
Okay.
did that. Sorry.
We were just closing the public hearing, yeah.
Okay.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Okay. And we really have to open and close each and every one of these? Okay, we'll do it, we'll do it.
Well,
I think we,
no, I'm sorry. I think we can open them all.
right, I think we need to vote on each one individually, but I think we can have a public hearing on all of them
Okay,
instead of.
It's all the same chapter.
it's all the same chapter, yeah, it's just a use code difference.
So I'll,
What do you think, Solicitor? Are you thinking about it, or are you?
No, I think it's fine.
Okay.
It's all the same.
problems with that.
So yes, you can open it up once, but as Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you for not
please
making us do
vote
that part.
separately.
All right, you want to make that motion, Mark, or do you?
sure, I'll make a motion to open the public hearing on amendments to zoning ordinance chapter 18.16. Table of uses.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second just to open the public hearing. We'll go for our roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. All right, so we have our public hearing on the code of uses. I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of questions, right? So who wants to start? Anybody in particular, or do you want to go down the line? Sure, go ahead.
Just a question, because I could see us jumping around to things. Would you
Yep.
prefer us to go in order, or how would you prefer that to happen?
I would, so we're not jumping around too much. I didn't know how you guys felt.
All right, well, I mean, I can just throw something out there and then we can have a discussion or so.
Sure.
Of all the changes, I think, there are certainly some questions, that I'm sure all of us have. The, I read the information from the town planner as far as the changes, and how the planning board had made these decisions. I certainly am inclined to look to the recommendations of the planning board, certainly appreciate the input they put in. But I also understand too, there was a supplementary letter that had shared some additional information from the EDC director. And that I think it might be advantageous for us to have an opportunity to circle back and look at this more in depth. With the exception, there's one that I had no question on, which was a cemetery. I think cemeteries, I'm fine with that one. But there was a point raised as far as how the decision to prohibit in some of these was in alignment to our comprehensive plan. But when I look at a lot of the pieces that are in the APOD, as well as some of the, I have the use code here and reading through this, but I think it's business residential zoning. A lot of those also fall into the areas of Wyoming, Shannock, and the areas that are identified in our comprehensive plan for development. So my concern is that without having a more substantial view of this, we may be cutting off our nose to spite our face, so to speak. I just would like to have more substantial view on this between the EDC and the planning board. But again, those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear what all the other council members have to say.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I had the same thoughts that Jim just expressed, and I was just wondering if there's any way that we could get the two, Gary, the EDC, and the planning board together to kind of hash out the differences that they have. I don't know what kind of process that would be, but they're the experts, I guess you could say, about business and, you know, where business could go and things like that. So, I mean, that was just a question I had, possibly getting them together.
Yeah, it's my understanding that at least the chair of the planning board was invited to the next EDC meeting. So I don't know about the entirety of the planning board, but it would be good to get the entire board on the same page. I was looking forward to going through them because I have specific questions on specific items, and we have been saying that we're going to discuss it at the public hearing. We're going to discuss the public hearing, and here we are at the public hearing. So I came ready to just dive in. What do you think, Mark?
So, I mean, I have the same concerns that Jim and Jeff have. And I think my biggest concern is this. A lot of these changes take what was a potentially permitted use with a special use permit and prohibit those uses. Yet they make that recommendation without giving us any reason. What's changed that now we think this should be prohibited no matter what, as opposed to allowing it with a special use permit? So, you know, my take on it, and I think we can go through them individually, is we should reject those proposed amendments, and then they have no choice but to do something about it if they don't like it. But that would maintain the status quo of what's currently allowed with a special use permit would still be allowed. They would have to develop the specific and identifiable criteria for those special use permits. And if they wanted to keep them in place, and if they don't, then it's going to be a permitted use.
That's,
Right. Yeah, go ahead.
that's exactly correct. You could certainly do that. If you were to do that, what Mr. Reynolds has expressed quite accurately is that because there's not express criteria, they're deemed permitted by the state law.
Yeah.
I know you referred to Mr. Parker's letter. His letter is, I would disagree with his legal conclusion as to that it requires you to make it permitted. No, it does not. You can prohibit it if you wish. You do have that power. You can say there's no special use permits in any district. You can do that if you want. I'm not suggesting, I'm just saying you have the authority to do that. But that would force, what Mr. Reynolds is saying, would force an action to revisit those. Otherwise, all those uses are permitted without having to meet any safety criteria, any of the special use criteria.
A quick question on that I had was, when I watched the planning board meeting, they had a discussion stating that they were going to make a lot of them not permitted with the intention of going back when they had more time to protect us from having them be automatically permitted. Is that still their intention?
I'm not sure what their intention is right now.
Okay,
I
I mean,
don't want to.
we could direct them to do that if we wanted to. Like, if we wanted to, we could direct them to revisit it.
Well, the other thing is, I mean, you, as the legislative body, you can make those conditions. These are recommendations. It's advisory only.
Yeah. Sure, go ahead, Jim. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think just to follow on Councilor Reynolds' comment too, you know, I just raise a concern about the decision matrix, like 322 child or adult daycare become prohibited in neighborhood business zone. Why? Understanding like neighborhood business zone, there's certainly a shortage of the need for daycare and childcare. Like, there's no reasoning why. That's just one example. There's another one where we talk about private trade technical schools. Right now, that's neighborhood business zone, but it's neighborhood business zone. Private technical schools would be a wonderful thing to start seeing those types of trade opportunities. Why prohibit it? Right? There's no reason. There's no justification, and I'm uncomfortable with just putting a blanket no on these things.
Well, That's why we should give it a blanket no. There's no reason. They gave us a recommendation without a recommendation. They said, we'll just do it because we said so.
Right, so I don't wanna, well, yeah, I think you understand what I mean, like, I don't wanna approve, like,
No,
saying no, I think we're in agreement on that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Right. We
Yeah.
should just say no.
correct, yeah. Thank you.
you're welcome. So that's just on the uses so far and the rejections, not on the specific criteria. So I have more when we get into that section on the specific criteria part of it, but I am in agreement. Because it was my understanding that they were giving us no's, that they could go back to it. So my thought coming into this meeting was I would say, yes, we'll approve that it's prohibited today, but then make a second motion directing the planning board to revisit them and create specific criteria and create a specific reason. But I'm going to scratch that entire idea. We should just send it back to them and leave the town vulnerable to having these things in those
Yep.
places.
Go up. Yes, please.
So my thought was, and kind of is, if we reject the amendments to the table of uses, so everything that they've said should be prohibited, we're gonna say, no, we're not gonna do that. And then we continue the section on the
Mhm.
specific and identifiable criteria, we continue that one. So that way, if they go back and they want to add specific and identifiable criteria for these other uses, they can do that. We'll continue it to a specific date that gives them time to do that, and then we'll consider whatever they've done plus what's already been done by the solicitor and the planner at that later date. So that way, we could approve the ones that have been done, and they'll have to come back with another set of new ones either way, but I don't know if the solicitor has a thought on that.
I
What do you
do.
think?
Yeah. I think what you're asking for is to have them revisit. You're really asking for a different opinion to revisit the issue on what they've deemed prohibited. In other words, they haven't give criteria, and you're asking them to please develop criteria, which again, they don't have to.
They don't have to.
They don't have to.
Well, either explain the criteria or explain, make the criteria or explain why. Because I had the same concern when I read this. I was like, okay, why? I had the same questions. I did go back and watch the planning board meeting, but that information's not here, so it's not digestible. So some of the questions were answered, but not all in the meetings. So I don't know. I understand that concern. So I think that's the direction we're gonna go, is to get a specific reason as to why. Or get some specific and objective criteria.
Just this, okay, I'm going to say this, just as a thought that came for your consideration is, the planner and I developed some specific criteria. Maybe you could direct us to develop specific criteria for the prohibited items if you don't want to make them prohibited. And have the planning board review that. In other words, we do the work at the staff level, and then they can give that as their advisory opinion to you.
Would they be seeking input from the other board or commission, i.e. the Economic Development Commission on that?
They can.
I'd like.
There's nothing I know that requires that.
Yeah. I think that it's interesting because, I think, if we're looking at, I think we have to look at it as a holistic approach to why and balancing, because the comprehensive plan is a document that you can use and you can take what you want from it and have it justify your point. I'm just saying, if I said I want to have it to prohibit certain things because it doesn't conform to the use that's expected by the comprehensive plan, I could find that. If I wanted to say, I want to develop business in accordance to our development zones, I could find that. And I think those two pieces need to be part of the puzzle.
They can consider it. I don't think they have to, though.
They being,
The planning
Right.
board.
I'd like to have that information when we make a decision on what they have. That's all.
All right, so any further council discussion on the use tables? This is a public hearing, so I'm going to open up to the public. I saw our town clerk's hand, so I'm going to go there first.
Is there a way, if this conversations continue to a specific date, throwing out there to give planning that cooperation of EDC to the 18th, say, of November, and then this advertisement currently could stand without being re-advertised.
That works for me, I think, because I leave it
That will
open,
be,
right?
If you continued this, yeah.
if you continued those specific uses, anything new obviously would have to be re-advertised, but then the town wouldn't have to re-advertise for that large ad.
Well,
Yeah, go ahead. Or don't.
I don't think we should continue all of those. We should reject them.
R-
And the one I was considering continuing is the specific, is the last one on this list, which is the specific and identifiable criteria, to give an opportunity to add more to it if they chose to. If they choose not to, then those uses will all be permitted and we'll go with the list that's there.
So
Would be in, so it would be, yeah, so it would be an ad, which is fine.
Mhm.
I
It's
just.
gonna have, but it's either
It's
gonna
gonna
have
have
new
to be,
stuff.
yeah.
Okay. Do we have anybody from the public who'd like to say something on the table of uses? Sure, go from the front and then go in the back. Please state your name for the record.
John Burns, Richmond resident. Think in a world where we have plenty of heroes in uniform that have given their life for this country, I would hope that what we do is try to give more freedom to the people, not take it away. So as our elected officials, I would urge you to just kind of keep that in mind every time that we're going over changing laws and adding some or whatever, that it's always in the best interest of the people that elected you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good. Please do state your name for the record.
Hi, Chris Cronin, Richmond. It's clear that there's a healthy tension here, at least between the planning board and the EDC, and certainly among those in the town about which philosophy to take as we approach this. And so I applaud the town council for their caution in pursuing this. And if you pursue further staff work on this, I might suggest that it might be useful for the time of the planning board and the EDC to at least come to terms first on what the philosophy for how they should approach the changes to the zoning regulations are first and plan use, then pursue refining what that looks like, since I think that seems to be the core argument in this first. So before we going through cycles of spending, and I know the planning board worked really hard on this, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we shouldn't have these kind of discussions in this tension.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody online? All right, do we have a motion to close the public hearing?
so move.
Second.
We got a motion or a second. We'll go for a vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Want to make that motion, Mr. Reynolds? Or I will?
No, I'll give it a
Okay.
shot. So I make a motion to reject the amendments to zoning ordinance 18.16.010 cemetery, 18.16.010 child and adult daycare, 9 or more persons, 18.16.010 fairgrounds, 18.16.010 place of worship, 18.16.010 private club, 18.16.010 theater or other indoor privately owned public gathering place, 18.16.010 stadium, arena, or other outdoor privately owned public gathering place, 18.16.010 power generation, 18.16.010 broadcast studio antenna, 18.16.010 towing with vehicle storage, 18.16.010 fuel sales and delivery.
The first one, private technical trade school, please.
Oh. Sorry, 18.16.010 private technical trade school. Thank you.
Second, thank you for taking that on. Any council discussion before we go to our vote? All right, we'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Okay, so then can we open the public hearing for discussion and consideration of amendments to the zoning ordinance, chapter 18.16, use regulations, accessory uses, elimination of a duplicative section.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Myself, yes. So during this review, our town planner or somebody along the line noticed we had a duplicate section. That was a copy and paste error, so this is just removing it. Any council discussion? Public discussion online? All right, can we have a motion to close our public hearing?
So moved.
Second, we'll go for our roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Can we have a motion?
Motion to approve amendments to zoning ordinance 18.16.030 accessory uses to eliminate the duplicative section.
Second, go for our roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right, last one. I'll just make a motion to open the public hearing for the addition to the zoning ordinance, chapter 18.16 use regulations for a new section 18.16.040 entitled uses permitted by special use permit.
Second.
All right, we'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
Myself, yes. All right, so these are where we did get some specific and objective criteria. And I was thinking, the point earlier is we could just go down the line and see if we had questions or comments on any of them. First one being 210, keeping and breeding of domestic livestock.
Let me just throw this out as a general proposition before we go. Do we want to continue this to allow them to add to it? Or do you want to vote on this and then if they come back with something else, we'll deal with it then?
I have concerns with some of them, so if we're gonna have them review it, I'd like an opportunity for my concerns to be heard, and the public's here, maybe they have concerns as well.
Okay. All right.
But we can be fast about them.
No, I'm just gotta find it then.
Okay,
Before I found that, I wanted to make sure we were gonna talk. Oh,
so 210, keeping and breeding of domestic livestock. Yep,
Where is it on the attachment? What page?
It's page 48 of 64.
Okay, thank you.
so I'm scrolling too, Jeff.
just keep scrolling, scrolling. All right,
Got it.
all right,
Talia did all this?
any concerns on 210? Or we'll go to 224. All right, we'll go to 240.
So again, the only question I had on this, I guess, is why the 3-acre minimum lot size? Is that too big? But I don't know. That was just my quick question on that
For
one.
240, why 3 acres?
Yeah.
Is that something that you would be able to answer since you were at the planning board meetings, or should I not call on you for those and we can ask?
I don't know. I'd be making a guess, but
Mhm.
only because a commercial hatchery indoor, I assume has to take up a certain amount of space, and it's got to be a pretty big space to have the pools that are needed. But
Mhm.
why it has to be 3, I don't know what the thought process was behind that particular.
Okay,
I think the Carolina hatchery is in R3 zone. That
that's why they're looking at 3 acres.
I'm just
Oh, yeah,
assuming
yeah.
that's the commercial hatchery that we have, the one is in R3.
Is that indoor?
It's not in, well, a portion is.
But also for clarity, these changes do not affect anything that's currently existing. I mean, it may have been used as an example, but everything that's currently existing is a like non-conforming use. But it could be like a good reason as to why you would then use that as an example.
That was just the question I had. It
Yeah.
just seemed like, if you can do it in less, why not? But I don't.
All right, any
Should-
question?
So certainly something you could change. Doesn't have to be 3. It's up to you.
What do you want to do?
So if you can't feasibly do it on a smaller piece of property, we don't need to have the minimum here because you just can't do it. So I don't know what the logic, why does there have to be any minimum lot size? You can't do you can't do a hatchery in under whatever. You can't put a kiddie pool in your basement and call it a hatchery, but
It's not as yourself.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, it's not that noise is gonna be an issue, I don't think, with a hatchery.
I mean,
Should it,
go ahead.
should it be a concern that we revisit when it comes back to us? Like it's, because we're gonna be referring this over anyway.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know. Is that good?
That's fine.
All right.
Let's flag it
By
as
3 acres.
by 3 acres, 240.
302, any questions on private schools permitted in those uses or in those zones?
I have the same.
Same thing,
I have the same question on that one. Why 2 acres?
wherever there's acreage, we want to know why.
Yeah, this is, potentially in R1 zone. Again, it depends on the size.
Mhm.
But again, if you can't, you can do it. So that's going to be my consistent question on a lot of these.
I have one that's a really consistent question too. Yeah, we'll keep going. 306, private nursery, why 2 acres? Well, I'll add that as a note. Any other concerns with 306? All right. 324, halfway house in special use permit in in neighborhood business. At least it's saying new business.
Same, 2 acres.
All right, 326, homeless shelter, special permit, in R1 and NB. Any questions on that?
Same.
2 acres.
Yeah,
Three-
it's a consistent theme.
Yeah, it is a theme.
Yeah.
And maybe there's some magic, but there's no one here to explain it, so.
330 nursing home, any questions on this one? 2 acres.
This one's 3.
3 acres. 342 medical treatment, less than 15,000 square feet. Any questions on this one? All right, I'll flag the acreage. Keep going. 350 private or not for profit public service facility. Any questions on this one? All right, 402 indoor recreation facility. Any questions on this one? All right, 406 outdoor recreation facility. Any questions here?
Acreage.
All right, acreage. 410, any questions on this one? All right. 420, any questions on this item? All right. I got the acreage.
Same, 10 acres. This one's 10.
That's a lot. Oh, it's a campground. Seasonal camp
You can have
for
a small campground. You don't have to have a big campground.
Sure. Micro camping, glamping. 424 seasonal camp. Any questions here? Now we're
Same.
back to the acreage.
10 acre.
436 indoor shooting range. I have a question. That's not about acreage. The purpose of this was to create specific and objective criteria, but here it says the number 2, the chief of police shall review the application and provide comments. So it feels like now the chief has unspecific and unobjective criteria. We're just shifting that onto him. So I would want to go forward, if we want comments, which I understand why you would want comments from the chief of police on something like this, that his comments be specific and objective.
Yeah, and it should, like the other ones have, you have to have enough parking, you have to have enough this, you have to have, it's not here, so those would be logical ones to add as specific and
Yeah.
objective criteria.
Yeah. All right. 442 Museum or Library,
2 acres.
2 acres. Thank you.
And just question, how much does it cost to do a traffic study?
Is there, you
Someone
know?
know?
Depends, thousands.
Yeah, the only reason, I mean, I understand the need for a traffic study to understand where it is, but like, I know, for example, there's some thought about having, you know, a museum somewhere in town. And the people that are driving it are involved with nonprofits and fundraising. So just think about thousands of dollars for the traffic study, but it's just something that, you know,
But at least it would only be in residential or neighborhood business.
Yeah.
At least it's only in those kind of tighter
Yeah.
areas, but.
and, I mean, if there was a traffic study done for another business in the area, can they utilize that traffic study? It's already been done?
It was, I mean, if it was recent and the conditions were the same, I think the planning board would accept that
Okay,
upon their review.
yeah.
I mean, if it's 7 years ago and there's different dynamics in the area,
Yeah, and the area that I'm thinking of is, certainly there's multiple opportunities for these kind of things, so I'm sure that would be done. So,
they could accept it.
yeah, all right, cool, thank you.
Well, that was museum or library. Next is 508. Cellular communications. Any questions here? All right. On to 532, transportation terminal. This is a theme that I have noticed. This is a special use permit that's only permitted in the Aquifer Protection Overlay District. This use is permitted in general business, light industrial, and flex tech. And council created the Aquifer Protection to go over those in order to protect our aquifer. So I would think if somebody was applying for a special use permit, it would be relative to protecting our water supply. So I don't see how seating areas for patrons and dark sky compliance would fit into that, where if somebody's getting a permit or looking to get this use in general business, they can do it, but not if you're in the aquifer. Then we're worried about seats. So that was a consistent theme I saw whenever, and there was a few we already passed, but I was not concerned with those specific criterias. But if we're going to apply it for that reason, I think it should apply to our water.
But there's general business in the aquifer protection.
Right. So if there's a general business outside, like, and they're outside the aquifer, we're not worried about seating. But if there's general business in the aquifer, now we're worried about seating, and that just didn't make sense to me. So that's what I flag as my consistent theme. Any other questions on this one? Yes.
Yeah, the only other question I had was, because the APOD, you know, we're talking about, that's primarily the Wyoming area, right? And it's the dark sky compliance. Do we currently have dark sky compliance regulation for that area? Because that's anything but dark sky compliant. I'm just worried about, I get it. I mean, if you're looking at, you know, Shannick or some area that maybe is more in the rural part, but are we enforcing or looking at implying dark sky compliance for Wyoming?
My understanding, I'm going to defer to our solicitor to answer that if you could.
No, I'm not aware if we are in that area or not, but this is a new ordinance. So for this one, the planner thought that would be appropriate.
Yeah, I would not want that there. Because it
Don't have
could,
to.
I mean, you think about the collateral impact of doing that, and you put in this dark sky compliance, and then you try to develop that plaza and find out you have to turn off the lights at 6 o'clock at night.
That's not what dark.
Well, well,
Okay.
someone please, I mean, I understand it is to protect the integrity of someone viewing the night sky. We went through this at the field behind the Charlestown Town Hall for the Charahoe Cowboys, as far as utilization of lights for playing football. They weren't dark sky compliant because they said that too much ambient light into the sky and someone would complain. So if you've got a new shopping center in Charahoe Plaza that has an illuminated sign, that could be a violation of dark sky compliance. No?
That could be approved though. That could be a variance.
Yeah, that's a real, I just was curious about that. So.
I like the dark
Great
sky
question.
compliance. It's my understanding that the compliance part, there's not a specific ordinance for it, but it's within other parts of our ordinances here and there. That's what I understand. So it's not everywhere.
I see details.
Yeah, but I do think that that's something that our community would want to have. And I think that it's something that's done wonders in Charlestown.
There's a time and a place. There is town
Yeah.
and country. I'm not talking about putting like highway lights on Beaver River Road.
Mhm.
But everyone would also agree that they want to see development in Charahoe Plaza. That's all. It's two different worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to make sure we don't tie our hands with something that is just, that's all.
Okay.
But no, good conversation. I appreciate
Yeah.
it.
538 parking lot garage. This one fits my theme. This one, I don't see Mark's theme. Specifically, so this is permitted in general, light, industrial, PD, everywhere, basically. But if it's in the aquifer, then we're concerned about crosswalks. And I just didn't get the correlation between, like, I think crosswalks should be in everywhere. It's necessary, not necessarily just in the aquifer. And then also, number 3, it says the property owner shall be responsible for snow or trash removal. Failure to remove snow and trash will result in a fine prescribed by the town council. I couldn't find where we have that fine in our ordinances. Also, again, why are we only subjecting people in the aquifer for that? If we're going to do it, it should be more consistent. Any other questions on this one? All right, 540, vehicle leasing, outdoor storage. This is another one that fit my theme, but any other comments? All right,
Dark sky.
yeah, there it is again. We'll flag the dark sky too now. 577, privately owned recycling facility. Any questions on this one? All right, 558, septic pumping business with vehicle storage. Again, this is only the aquifer protection where it's needed a permit. But it's also septic, so I kind of got it.
Dark
Any
sky.
questions? And dark sky.
And again, I just would, you understand my point. I would just like some parameters and some explanation about how that impacts businesses there. So.
But even consistency, like why do we want it to be dark sky compliant for the aquifer protection, but not everywhere else?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think too, we've looked at these maps in the past. I think we talk about the APOD, but just it's helpful too to have I don't expect you to have the map up now, but where that actual area encompasses.
Yeah,
Well, the hashed.
Yeah. And that.
sorry, it's a picture of the zoning map.
Yeah, we can come out, but I think that's helpful because that's also the development zones, or at least some of it is. Yeah.
Right.
So, thank you.
Welcome. All right, 602, construction trade contractor. Any questions or comments on this one? All right. 624, vehicle service station with convenience store. Any on that one? All right. 626, vehicle service station with body or automotive repair shop. All right,
It's just funny that these don't have dark sky.
see, consistency. 644, warehouse sales with outdoor storage. This fit the APOD question I had, where if you're now in the APOD, you're subject to hours of operation, sorry. Constantly speaking. Where outside the APOD, you are not. On to the next one, if nobody else. All right. 710, business offices not otherwise specified. All right, nothing there. 732, hotel, motel. You got something there?
Sorry.
Yeah, no, go.
And it was just a point. I know I remember having this, a belabored conversation around landscape buffers adjacent to residential use. I mean, I imagine there's some parameters on that because we had a great long discussion with the past solicitor about the type of tree, the size of the tree, the distance the tree is, how much of a sound buffer that tree provides. So this is something to keep in mind when we put these things in here, but then it's like open season. So thank you.
On to the next one, 734, health-related services. Any questions on this? All right. 736, personal services. All right. 738, retail services. This one I had highlighted, but I think it was addressed earlier. I highlighted the number 1 where it says parking based on gross floor area. I was like, what's the ratio? If we were going to be specific and objective, then I was thinking there should be a ratio. But I don't know what that answer would be. Anything else? All right, 740, repair services. All right, 7:52, pet grooming. All right, 7:54, dog boarding or breeding kennel. Right,
This is minimum lot size, but it doesn't say what it is.
all right, not specific project. Good catch.
What is noise mitigation? What is noise mitigation for a dog kennel? Is that vegetative buffer? Is it soundproof wall?
That may vary actually where it is, just because if the placement is closer to other properties, you know, if it's in the middle of a huge lot, then it may be okay. But that's a good question as well.
Yeah.
Where do they leave off? Pet cemetery? 7:56, pet cemetery. Any questions on this one?
Sorry.
The water.
Yeah, no.
On to the next one, 7:62, laundry or laundromat. I had the ratio question on this one too. Nothing else? All right. 7:65, dry cleaner or on-site cleaning facility. Special use in industrial only. All right. 7:72, self-storage. This one fit the, it's an APOD only special use permit. So when we're inside the APOD, we want a security plan and fencing and hours of access specified. But if you're outside the APOD, then it doesn't seem to apply. And I felt that was, but the stormwater drainage, that applied to water.
There's no size requirement there too. That's interesting.
For what?
There's no minimum lot size for that.
Yeah, no minimum lot size.
I think it's because I did that one.
Oh, okay. There was different themes between different views. That makes sense. 7:74, equipment rental with on-site outdoor storage. This was another one with the water theme. It's an APOD sub B. And then if it's in the APOD, hours are restricted, as is lighting and signage, which didn't seem to affect water. Any other comments?
In that one, screening means just a visual screening. That's visual screen, like to prevent or to make someone doesn't look at it.
Yeah.
That's what I was assuming, like a beauty fence. But if you're questioning it, then is it specific and objective enough?
Yeah, I mean that.
Which one was that, please?
That was,
774.
74.
Yeah. I know the screening was a big issue when it came to the solar field approvals, because screening for certain ones was right like a 4-foot tree, but you can clearly see right over it. So very specific would be helpful.
all right, 776 funeral home. All right, 802 supermarket. This fit the water theme. Inside of APOD, we want a traffic study. That one might make sense. These ones might make sense. On to the next one, 812. All right, 814. 817. 820 package store. I had a question on this one. It combines with the next one. 2 and 3 were listed for the package store, but not for cannabis. And I was wondering, like, should it be? If you have, like, we created the when we developed the ordinance to approve cannabis, we just mirrored what was allowed for a package store. That made sense.
Certainly can be. We can add those.
Okay. Any other questions on package store? All right, on to cannabis. Neighborhood business. I had a question, number 3, it said hours of operation set by permit, and I was wondering which permit would permit their hours.
It would be state permitting. That's a highly regulated industry.
So, yeah, so the state permitting would regulate their hours. We wouldn't be able to pick the hours of operation.
I don't know if the state permit has maximum hours of operation. I'm not sure.
Interesting. Okay.
Let's find out.
I would like to know. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions on cannabis? All right. 832, farm, gardening, or landscaping supplies. All right. 852, flea market. All right. 854, artisan studio. This fit the water theme. It's in the APOD. When it's in the APOD, we then want noise control, and parking. Any other concerns? All right, 862 bar, lounge, or tavern in the Shannick Village area. All right, 870 retail sales not otherwise classified in the Shannick Village and APOD B. All right, 904 winery in the neighborhood business, Shannick Village and APOD B. All right, 905 winery at a vineyard in a bunch of locations. All right, 906, so brewery. 910 millwork. 918 textile. 934 rubber or plastic. 954 concrete manufacturing. 958 manufacturing or processing not otherwise classified. 962 warehouse and general store. All right, we did it. Any other general thoughts or questions on these? All right, this is a public hearing. We did open the public hearing. We've been waiting for weeks for this. Any comments from the public on any of the use ordinances? Nope. Anybody online, Kendra?
Hear Dan Madden get homesick yelling at the TV like crazy.
I know. Luckily there'll be another public hearing for him to mention whatever he needs to mention. So procedurally, are we keeping we're closing public, how do we do, we don't close it, right?
No, I think we have to.
We keep
the
it open.
ad included all the ones that you rejected, so I think it's cleaner for a new ad. I don't think we can. Yeah, I think we'll have to re-advertise.
You'll have to re-advertise either way.
Yeah.
Close it and continue. Can we close it and continue it?
Okay, yeah, that's what we'll do. All right, we have a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
And our motion and our second, we'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
O'Shannell.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right. Action on this item.
Motion to continue, discussion and consideration of addition to zoning ordinance, chapter 18.16, use regulations, new section 18.16.040, uses permitted by special use permit to November 21st. Happy Thanksgiving.
All
November.
right, we're good. All right, so we got our motion.
Second.
We got our second. Go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
O'Shannell.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. Awesome. So we're done with the public hearings now, right? Great. We are back down to new business. Because we did handle the reports earlier. So. New business, request from myself for discussion and consideration of forming a climate resiliency commission. For those of you who tuned in last week, our last meeting, Rep. Cotter was here and she had suggested this to us. It's something that Charlestown has and utilizes to give an advisory board to give advice to the town council. So I just wanted to put it on the agenda so we could have a discussion on it because it was set in public forum, so we couldn't really have a discussion. And so I'll open up to council thoughts. Anybody have any?
So I'm unclear on what this group would be doing. One thing that came into my mind was that they would perhaps deal with the hazard mitigation plan. Because I don't know that any particular group is charged with overseeing and kind of coordinating that, but that, I guess, I'm not quite sure what this commission's going to do.
That is one. Oh, sure, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I know these commissions and task force, when we were looking at creating the Richmond investment for commercial task force, I had kind of put forward like some goals and objectives of things, I think to Councilor Reynolds' point. Did you have anything you want to share as far as the objectives, the goals, any parameters around this? Because I know the information from Charleston that it's kind of clear. They have a lot of beachfront, there's a lot of erosion, there's a lot of hurricane threat of those things. But when I think about Richmond, well, obviously we have flooding, we have those issues. Is that what the intent would be, to work on those issues of, kind of like the KG Ranch issues or something else?
Yeah, exactly that, actually. I know that the coast gets a lot of attention when it comes to sea level rising, but that is something that affects our rivers as well. So any kind of climate change, if we have a hurricane, we would have the different issues involving our trees and the health of our forests. And I think adding in the hazard mitigation plan, seeing what they can do to provide advice on ways to tackle it may be a good idea.
So your hope for today would be what for us to
Ha-
address moving forward with the idea of kind of putting more meat on the bones to determine if it's something we want to approve or?
Something that we can create their tasks. Where, you're right, I didn't put any tasks forward because I thought we could have a discussion on what they would do
Mhm.
surrounding climate resiliency and then have a draft created, and then we'll review that together.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, go ahead, Jeff.
I was just gonna say, I appreciate the intent. I just think that our existing departments are capable of handling. We have the existing departments handle that stuff, so, I mean, I know there's a little bit more with the, oh, what is it called?
They call it,
The commission, but,
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, I do share that concern. That's why I'd like to see more of what are we proposing this group do? Like, that's my concern. Are we already doing this with a group of people and we're just creating a commission that's gonna sit around and talk to each other? And,
Mhm.
You looked at me.
you know, you're old down that way. You know,
Worse.
you know, yeah. But I share that. And that's why I want to see, I'm not committed to saying, yes, let's do it, but let's see we'll get some more detail. And then maybe it would make sense, maybe it wouldn't.
Mhm.
But I think, we can take the next step and see where it goes. But I have this, not seeing much yet. That's my, the question in my mind is whether is it necessary or are we already doing it with existing staff?
Yeah, and one other thing I think would be helpful to see what your thoughts are from like, the members that would be part of it. Like I would imagine the EMA director, for example. But then, I think it's important to determine, is the EMA director already working on that type of topic? Is he working or is she working with the state on that? To make sure that we're not duplicating efforts. It could be something that could be very valuable, but I'd like to understand your thoughts on who the key players that would be on that type of commission and kind of map that out.
Yeah, so it wasn't like my idea. So it was something that I wanted all of us to discuss and kind of figure it out. Charlestown does have specific criteria. They have members which would have to have a scientific, technical engineering background or experience with environmental or life sciences. So they are really specific in their criteria. And if that's something that we wanted to do, that's fine. But also if there's not enough information, that's respectable as well.
I think there's an interest in seeing more.
Okay, what would you want to see a group like this do for our town? Because I think that's kind of your earlier point where Charlestown has theirs and it was recommended that we kind of look into one for our community. So that's why I brought it to the table to see if we were to build one, what would they do? And then is that service already being provided?
Sure. If I had to create this right now, it would be a group that would be working with the EMA director,
Mhm.
looking at, again, I'm just spitballing. This is something that I think is, going to take a lot more thought, but, looking at hurricane response,
Yep.
River flooding issues, flooding mitigation. I think those are the, I guess if you look at climate, you could look at our forestry piece, of the, forest management even. You could look at the impact on, we've had devastating gypsy moth infestation, which is cause for dead sending. I don't know if that falls under the climate resiliency piece, but those are the kind of pieces. I don't know. I would say I don't know if we're prepared right now to come up with all the ideas to put on paper to define whether it's worth going forward.
Mhm.
So maybe it's an opportunity to get some additional input. Are there people that we could have give input to this?
I think so. I think some of our existing commissions could, and I think Erin wants to.
No, actually, Counselor Magnick had provided a late draft for an attachment that vetted out a lot of these questions. Unfortunately, we couldn't add it to the agenda because it wasn't really a context specifically for criteria. So it might be beneficial to wait and continue this item to the next one so we could add that item and then he could add to that conversation, but.
Motion to continue then.
Sure.
Second.
So the motion to continue to the next, is that November 4th?
No, so the 21st is our next meeting.
21st.
October 21st.
All right, so we'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes. All right, the next one is Counselor Madnick's item, but you had forwarded this to all of us to put on. Do you want us to continue this as well, or do you have insight on this, Erin?
So I think it was more about direction on new cannabis. The permitting process is open for the area. And I know the EDC, I believe, is promoting it on their entity. What would the council's pleasure be like to promote this on the town side? Is that something you want us to just publicate out through the website, that this portal is open, accepting licenses, or it was just, I think, a general awareness of the counselor, and I had sent it like, what type of direction do you want this advertised? Because there's six in our area that could be given. So just, it was like a notification to make people aware that this application portal is now open for cannabis in our area. So we could just put it on the website. It's a state regulation.
Yeah, I just think it's up there as an FYI. This is,
Yeah.
if you're into, this is, again, it doesn't go through us, it's all state, so. It's just telling people if this is something you're interested in pursuing, here's where you go. I don't think it needs to be really promoted other than just as another source of information about potential business opportunity if you're so inclined.
We have already received a few inquiries about how many we had in our area, because if you already have one, you're not permitted one, it's my understanding, so. And we don't currently have a retail cannabis facility. in
Mhm.
Richmond.
So are you looking for guidance, like a directive from council to do an advertisement?
It's an issue that is, cannabis, there's two sides of it. The council previously voted to support the ordinance amendments on it. So yes, I guess simply, I don't think it'd be beneficial to go to businesses necessarily, but maybe just, we'll put it on our news flash.
It's just it's just an
FYI.
FYI like everything else.
Yeah.
Not special, it's not different, it's.
Also, it was voter approved. So I know it's an issue because not every voter voted yes, but the majority of voters voted yes. So I think, go ahead, share it. Motion to authorize our interim town administrator to advertise this opportunity. We'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And myself, yes.
Can't wait to see the little icon Erin puts on the digital screen.
All right, communications, petitions, proclamations, and resolutions from other Rhode Island cities and towns. Motion to file.
I just had one that I'd like to pull and refer to staff to make sure things are getting done is letter E,
Mhm.
the email regarding Shannock Hill Road, restoration of the pavement. So can we pull that and
Yeah.
direct it? Then I would like to do that, pull letter E and direct it, refer it to town staff to follow up to make sure that the requirements for restoring Shannock Hill Road are being met by the contractor.
That's a motion.
Second.
We got our second. Any council discussion? Go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes.
Motion to file communications received A, B, C, D, F, 1 and 2A.
Second.
Go for a roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. All right, on to executive session. We have a motion to enter executive session.
motion to go into executive session pursuant to RIGL 42-46-5A4. Investigative proceedings, and 42-46-5. Open paren 1, close paren, discussion of job performance.
Second, and the person whose job performance is being discussed has been notified. We'll go for our roll call vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. So no votes are taken, right? Because we ended up not.
We're not.
Okay.
We're back on?
Oh, we're on?
Yep.
Can we please have a motion to exit executive session?
So move.
Second?
Got a motion and a second. We'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. Motion to seal the executive session minutes, please.
Second.
Got a motion or a second. We'll go for our vote. Counselor Dinsmore,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. There were no votes taken in executive session.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Counselor Dinsmore.
Yes.
Palmigano.